Hello my dear friend, this is Phil again and welcome back to my channel. Here I have another great news for you. On the current PTS, Bethesda is not only buffed the explosive to enable the critical damage, but also it fixed a long existing bug which actually allowed us to take the full advantage of all the explosion damage on huge and gigantic mob. If you are not aware of this current bug, let me show you quickly on the live server what's gonna happen if you hit a giant mob on the upper part of its body. Let's take the Murloc Queen as example here. I'm using a broadsider here. There he comes. If I shoot her upper part of the shell, what we got is a single digit damage per hit, which is totally not right considering we're actually having a very powerful explosive big cannon in our hands. But if we aim her feet, we can have a much higher damage. Is over 200 per shot. That means our explosion does cause damage to this creature. Oh, I just got killed again. So this character is really not set up to fight the Murloc Queen at this moment, but it doesn't matter. What I'm trying to show you here is if we shot her upper part of the body, we only have single digit damage numbers. If we shot her on the feet, we have over 200, which is full explosion damage. Apparently, that's not because her upper part of the body have much stronger explosive resistance. It's because the bug in the current game. To actually explain how this bug is happening, please allow me to give you some background on exactly how explosion works in this game. So in a very brief nutshell, every explosion is formed by three different factors. The first one is the explosion center, or the blast center, whatever you call it. Apparently that's the center of the explosion. And then we have an inner radius, or inner circle, around that blast center. So when the enemy's hitbox is actually inside this inner radius, they will suffer the full explosion damage. If we go further away from the blast center, there's the out radius, or the outer circle. So if the mob's hitbox is actually within this circle, but outside the inner circle, it will receive reduced explosion damage. Every single weapon, or almost every single explosive launchers, have different size in terms of the blaster zone, or the blaster radius. They have different inner radius and different outer radius. Unfortunately, the broadsider has the smallest one in the game. It's even smaller than the legendary explosive effect. I don't know why. I think that's a misfortune for this weapon. Then here is the tricky part. We have to introduce the ground level. Why we introduce ground level? Because it doesn't matter where the explosive happens. It always happens on the ground level, or the blast center of the explosion will always be on the ground level, or be on the feet level of the mob if it flies. If we take the Murloc Queen as an example, if we actually shoot his head or the upper part of his body, for example the shell as I just showed you in the video, the explosion actually happens here on the ground level. And apparently the upper shell is far away from the explosion center, and in this case, because the radius of the explosion from the broadsider is so tiny, so small, this part of the Murloc Queen's body is far beyond the reach of the explosion radius, and that's why we don't see any explosion damage on its upper body when we shot her. It only takes the damage from the physical bullet impact. And this also happens to all the explosive launchers if we have an even bigger enemy. For example, the Scorch Beast, or Scorch Beast Queen, or the colossal wendigo. For the latter two, the Scorch Beast Queen and the colossal wendigo, because they are so huge, it doesn't matter which part of the body we actually hit with the explosion, it will not generate any explosion damage to their body unless we actually shot the ground around their feet. Then the blast will cause some damage to their body. This actually applies to all the explosive weapons as well as those weapons which have the legendary explosive damage effect. But the good thing is Bethesda already knew this. They actually tweaked the explosion blast center in this PTS at this moment. We can currently benefit from all the explosive damages wherever we actually shot the big animals or the huge creatures. So now let me show you what's happening in the PTS. If I shot the same Merlot Queen on the upper body, you will see it actually take the full damage from the explosion. And it's very clear that this over 200 damage per shot, well, by normal shot, and over 600 by critical shots, all on her upper body after the explosion bug is fixed. And this will be rolled out in our next patch, probably sometime in June. That means for all the explosive weapons, we not only benefit from the critical damage, we can also cause the full explosion damage wherever we hit on a huge, gigantic mob. And that's a big improvement for explosive weapons. And to verify my conclusion, I also tested on a Gauss shotgun, which have a very different blast radius. This is on the live server, and my shot to the head of the Scorch Beast does not cause any explosion at all. All the damage is only single digit number. The same thing happens to the Scorch Beast Queen as well, and that's why a lot of players claim that the Scorch Beast Queen has immunity to explosion damage. But that is totally not true. It's just because they are not hitting the right spot, which is on the foot level of the Scorch Beast Queen. If they actually hit the ground around that level, the blast will be able to impact the lower belly of the Scorch Beast Queen. That's how you actually utilize your explosive damage on the Scorch Beast Queen. But now let me show you what's happening on the PTS. We can see clearly it doesn't matter whether I'm actually hitting the head of the Scorch Beast or his upper torso or his wing. I always take the full explosion damage from the shotgun. So in both tests, I'm actually spamming my left mouse button, so the Gauss shotgun only causes explosive damage and only one physical damage to the target. So this bug fix also benefits the Gauss shotgun as well. It also benefits all the other explosive weapons and effects. Okay, that's all I want to share with you today. If you find the video useful and informative, please give me a thumb up. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and share my video with your friends. But until next time, Feel Against out.